Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, two blokes chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
Hello, Jen.
Hello, how are you guys?
Oh, doing very, very well indeed. We are down here living the life of luxury in the city of Geelong, the beautiful city by the bay. You're living in a town called Mulwala, a beautiful town on the Murray River. It must be driving you absolutely nuts at the moment.
Well, you think that maybe you should have had the other song. I thought Living on a Prayer was a good one. We're kind of doing it at the moment. So please let me home, Mr. Policeman. Please let me home.
How many times a day are you crossing the border?
Oh, look, I've probably narrowed it down since this. But yeah, probably 2 or 3 times trying to cross that border. So, yeah.
So are these family commitments or work commitments or a combination of?
Combination of, because all 3 of my children work in Victoria, all 3 of my children are schooled in Victoria, and my parents, who I have currently in lockdown, live in Victoria. So lots of reasons to cross the border.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people I used to work with who used to complain about the amount of interstate travel they had to do in their job, but that's just nuts.
Yeah, that's right. I often say that, you know, try and make myself sound good by saying I send my children interstate to school.
Yeah. Boarding school? No. They come home after school every night.
Jen, when we last had you on the show, you were showing your community skills by trying very hard to bring community together and promote small country towns, which is a great thing. So I guess because of that, you are in touch with the community. You've expressed how you're dealing with things personally, but people deal with all sorts of things differently. But in a word, how would you best describe life up there on the river for everyone in general?
Confusing, maybe. I think there is a lot of confusion going on, especially in the border towns. Like my parents were saying the other day, you know, are our kids going back to school? It's like, yes, it's just the Melbourne kids that have their school arrangements done. You know, people are like, can we travel to Albury? Like, that's probably our biggest centre. It's like, are we still allowed to go to Albury shopping? Or, you know, can I go to Wangaratta to the vet? Or, I'm not to the vet, to the dentist? Or
yeah, don't get them mixed up.
So I think there's a lot of confusion around what people can and can't do, and I'm not going to say that I'm the expert on that. I'm even a little bit confused myself, and I guess we're waiting for this 14 days to pass and then see what happens.
Well, I guess the other thing too, it's been a very long time since I've been to Mulwala, Yarrawonga, which are the 2 twin towns, if you will, in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
With Albury-Wodonga, it is effectively one city, isn't it? I mean, there's a river running through the middle of it, but we've got a river running through the middle of Melbourne, and we've got one running through the middle of Geelong, so it's not an unusual circumstance. But your 2 towns are quite separate, aren't they?
Yeah, oh, look, Mulwala relies a lot on Yarrawonga, I would say. This is where the biggest shops are, the biggest strips are. Like, you know, Mulwala does have a bakery and a chemist and
what else do you need?
A supermarket. But yeah, Mulwala is very dependent on Yarrawonga, and I would say Moama is very dependent on Echuca and so on and so forth. But Albury-Wodonga, they're quite big separate towns, and in fact when I lived there, you know, you didn't really think too much about the other people on the other side of the border, to be honest.
Okay.
But look, the lines that we've seen on TV and that through people trying to get from Wodonga to Albury are insane. We've got a bridge here, of course, and they're stopping us at the Mulwala side of the bridge, so you're on the bridge before you get stopped. And, you know, that's back to probably off the bridge a couple of times, I believe, from my friends who work at supermarkets who tell me these things. So, yeah, I think keeping the lines moving is, you know, I guess one of the troubles that we're in at the moment.
With a little bit more time to organise it, Jen, would it have been better, certainly have to guard the borders to stop people from Melbourne trying to drive to Sydney, I understand that perfectly, but rather than treating these Murray River towns as different state issues, wouldn't it be better just call them one community and then deal with the external trafficking of people, if you like, across the river in another way? Is it possible to have done it that way?
Yeah, look, certainly I did wonder about that. I think, if we stopped people coming into Yarrawonga from Melbourne, or I guess it is Melbourne at the end of the day who we're trying to keep out, might have worked better, but I guess logistically there's only one bridge. Like, our Weir Bridge is closed for maintenance at the moment, so I guess for the people that are trying to stop the traffic or monitor the traffic, that's the easiest option for them.
Because I would have thought, again, my geography up there is a little bit hazy, but I would expect that 60, 70, 80% of traffic entering New South Wales who is not, local, stuff like people from Melbourne going to Sydney and so forth, would go through Albury-Wodonga. I left Wodonga one day and I realised about 1 second after I left Wodonga that I needed fuel. And I had to drive about 30 k's before I could do a U-turn to get back into Wodonga to get fuel. And I would have thought that for that section of road, doing the roadblock, at that spot where I realised I needed fuel would have worked, because there's really only one road in and one road out, isn't there, for the bulk? I mean, sure, you guys know the back roads, but rather than doing it on the bridge, I just think that's insane.
Yeah, there is certainly, one major road, but I guess for us, if you think of Yarrawonga, Mulwala, and if I think of Echuca, Moama, we're such big tourist destinations, and the school holidays, and so many Melbourne people have holiday homes here, and all holiday themselves here, because we've got some beautiful, places to come and stay. So I guess being school holidays, they wanted to stop people travelling for that reason as well, just not heading through to Sydney.
Yeah, I guess. But again, the folk from Melbourne who've got their holiday properties in Echuca, if they had to put the roadblock 5k south of Echuca, it seems to me would have been a much more sensible approach, because the people from Melbourne can't get out anyway because they're being stopped at the top end of the metro area. But secondly, then people in Echuca and in Moama, for example, could actually interact with each other as per normal.
Yeah. Look, I guess given more time, they might have sorted out a little bit quicker. But when it was first announced, the panic in the border towns was the fact there was no form. They were all talking about all these passes that we need. I think I got mine at 11 o'clock at night, and like an hour before it was due to come into force. It was just insane, just trying to get, and that was the panic. That causes panic when people are told they have to do something and it's not available to do. That's when the panic starts to come in people.
Yeah.
And I think that they could have definitely handled that a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob has been playing with my headphones and now I can't hear a thing, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get the cable. Oh, there we go. Now we're back. But I think the whole panic thing, it was inevitable, wasn't it?
The panic? Yes, I guess so. But if they had have made the transition, if they had the assets ready to go before they did the announcement, I don't think there would have been as much panic.
Yeah. And so the press up there, the sort of media that you listen to, obviously you listen to 94.7 The Pulse via the internet most of the time, but when you're not listening to that, the local radio stations, the local newspapers, are they bagging out Victoria, or are they, what's the sentiment?
No, I don't think they are, because we're border towns. We're very conscious of maybe they're bagging out Melbourne.
Yeah, we all do that.
Not so much Victoria as such. No, it's just all trying to make people a little bit more informed. And there are always going to be people who are ringing the talkback radio stations that are crankier than other people. But I did notice on my social media last night that someone had a little post up about don't be afraid to give some chocolate frogs to the police officers who are, manning the stations and things like that, or give them a treat as you go by for them. So I thought that was, a really country community initiative that someone had thought, hey, let's make these people's lives a bit easier, because the graveyard shift must be terrible. It's freezing at night at the moment.
Yeah, the two green $100 notes that you slipped to them, that's against the law, but a chocolate frog I think's okay, isn't it?
I think so. I think so. But I did notice coming over the bridge just now, because I'm in Victoria at the moment, the Army are now there, the police officers. So they have deployed, whether they are, what's the Army
reserves,
or whether they're Army. They're in Army uniform. So.
They might just be down to Aussie disposals.
Jen, you strike me as a very well organised person. You've probably got this for an indefinite period now. Have you just sat down and thought through it calmly after you've had a few days and thought, right, now to make this work better for us, we need to do this, this, and this? Have you got a bit of military strategy going on in the household?
Yeah, I think it's more making sure, if it was the other way, I think if we were blocked, if Victoria had closed the border, for me personally, it would have been a bigger deal, because I would have been like, right, how long do we have to allow to get over the bridge to get the kids to work? Like, do we have to leave half an hour earlier? Do we have to leave 20 minutes earlier? But because it's the other way, it's just going home now. So all I'm missing out on is listening to great radio stations. Or I'm not missing out on that. I can listen to them even more because I'm in the car longer.
That's it, absolutely.
Then Neil touched on the hatred and dissent for Victorians and New South Welshmen. You probably don't have it on river towns, but is the media conjuring up some stuff? Because I saw something a bit despicable on the Twitter feed this morning when a high-profile Channel 7 journalist referred to the Melbourne virus coming to Sydney. That's probably a bit insightful, isn't it?
Ooh, yes. Look, the media's bound to do that sort of thing. That's what, panic and hatred seems to be the things that sell. So I have no doubt that is where, some of the letters to the editors will come in and, But look, I haven't seen a lot of it, I have to say.
No, that's good.
But I'm sure that it is definitely around.
And that's getting back to what we said before, that even though you're two separate towns in two different states, you're probably one community in a lot of sense, so that would be avoided, you would think.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there are people that think differently to me, but that's the feeling that I get at the moment. And certainly we haven't seen any panic buying in our supermarkets at the moment, as in all the shelves are still quite well stocked. So
I think the country folk tend to be a little bit more relaxed, calm and organised. The panic buying that happened in country centres initially was from Melbourne people coming out to country centres and cleaning out the supermarkets.
Not, and they can't get out now.
Now they can't get out, so we should be right.
Really bad stories about, just busloads coming to little places like, Berrigan and Rutherglen and just cleaning supermarkets out. It wasn't very good time for humanity, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Jenn Donovan, before we let you go, you better just give us a quick burst on the website that we can find out more about you, because you are a social media and small business marketing expert. Let's have the website so people can find out more about that.
Oh, you're very kind. So my website is socialmediaandmarketing.com.au.
And what do you actually do? Do you do anything in sort of social media and in marketing? Do you do that?
Do water skiing.
Yeah. Jenn Donovan, thanks for being our border town correspondent. We'll let you go because we know you've got an interstate trip ahead of you. So go drive carefully and look after yourself and for the rest of the folk of Mulwala, won't you?
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much, guys, for giving our little border town a bit of a voice. And when it's not locked down, we'd love to see, some visitors to our beautiful town.
We might come and do a Two Blokes Chatting live. What do you reckon?
That's
fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks,
Talk
Jenny.
to you soon.
All the best.
Thanks, guys. Bye.